is a consideration that we'd like to bring back to the table here. Now, two-way traffic and, keeping traffic moving on that side of the pond has its safety risks too. We recognize that. But we'd like to weigh those. We, ask for respectfully to reconsider what the optimal traffic flow would be. And I've provided, we collectively have provided from those who have contributed photographs of, to give you a sense of the kinds of things that were happening on any given day. And these photos come from different days. But you'll see we have cars wandering up along Forest Avenue, along Rye Beach Avenue, places where they just shouldn't have been. A second temptation, a visual signal, is that from time to time, especially on heavy volume visitor days, park staff were allowed to park in areas that were up in the restricted zone high up on the hill. Now, if there's a way that we can avert having that happen, that takes away a visual cue that it's okay to drive your car up in that area. We ask for solutions to be found where park staff can safely park their cars out of harm's way, but not necessarily taking away a paid parking space. But there must be a solution to that, and we'd like to see that kind of situation avoided. The next area is really to do more with parking during this interim situation before we commit one way or the other to a paid parking meter system. And that is counting the cars. Number one, we should be, it's an easy thing to do this year. We'd like a commitment to counting cars on a routine basis so that we have a much better accurate count of the number of cars visiting the park and can correlate that with receipts. Speaking of receipts, there should be receipts. If all too many times, and I will hearken Jim Flick up here, because something that he noticed and he brought to my attention over and over again was he would ask people after they had paid and entered the park with their cars if they had received a receipt, and the answer was no. So we have no way of knowing what cash transaction was actually entered. Not saying anything but the accurate amount was ever entered, but we have no way of checking that. So until we move to a new system, having receipts, that would make a big difference and give us a greater sense of control and accountability. Okay. Then this subject is near and dear to my heart because all too often someone who has, since the day I moved to Rye, New York, I have rarely ever called the Rye police for help in what I think is a security issue. But several times, and you can check the records, I and my neighbors called the police at the hours of 2, 3 in the morning because of something really important, and that is the gate is left open on Dearborn Avenue. And the gate should be closed both sides of the gate, frankly, should be closed when the park closes. Now, one time I took this subject up with park personnel, and Lieutenant, Falk was right nearby. And I, discussed it with him. And the answer I got was, we can't close the gate because restaurant staff have to leave, and so it can't be closed, and they leave much later than the park closes. So, again, being solutions-focused, collaboration between your restaurant licensee and park security to coordinate a way to close the gate, and when restaurant staff need to leave, the gate can be open for them when they actually are leaving and can be closed right behind them. It seems simple enough, and in prior years it hadn't been as much of an issue, but this year, in 2010, there's room for improvement. Well,
Ellen, I would suggest on some of those comments is that if we do a walkthrough on Friday afternoon, we'll do the budget, and then we can walk through and look at some of the elements that you're referring to.
Actually, I was gonna suggest the same thing, Mayor French. Is that if you're available on Friday to walk through the park with us and go through some of these issues. I know we had traffic engineers with us last year on some of these issues, and I guess the question is,
And I walked through at that time, too. Yeah.
I don't know if we meet at 4:30, Mayor French, or
Yeah, very good.
maybe at 4:30 and do the walkthrough and go through some of these issues.
We'll find someone who can do that with you. I personally won't be able to. I'm heading to Paris tonight, so.
Okay. I wish I was going to be in Paris.
It's for work. It's for work.
Okay.
It's work. I'll be working.
Those are the operational elements. You want to refer to having attendance, some of the...
Yep. Okay, so that gives you a sense there.
Okay. As you, with sort of the desire to move to the model park, these are just some small ideas that we collectively, and talking to the public and speaking with Bill, came up with. I'm not going to really go through our goals, just at a high level, where what we were tasked to do was be advocates for the residents and really try to come up with some, and I'm on page 16, come up with some events and key initiatives to get people to come to the park and really to help in the promotion and marketing of some of these events, whether it's Ride Town Park personnel or the Friends. So if you move to page 17, I'm going to very quickly give you some of the feedback that we received throughout the year. A lot of people asked for bigger events in the park, so seasonal, family-friendly events. A lot of people asked why there's not a playground, and if you think about reasons why people come to the park, in addition to walking your dog, these were some of the ideas. Definitely noise from Tiki Bar came up, having a designated picnic area, and people just in general had questions about usage of the park and why we can't use it. So no picnicking, no ball playing. They noticed the signs all around. I know this has come up before, and I'm sure there's reasons, but this came up. More concerts, and I know Bill has a lot on his schedule. I see the dog plan. A lot of people ask for dogs to be on leashes more. Another thing that came up from the community, from the citizens' conversation, was can residents purchase one-day guest passes? So a lot of times you have people who want to go to the beach, but they bring 5 of their friends and it becomes cost prohibitive. And then also, can there be student pricing? So for some of the high schoolers, that's a place they want to hang out, and it's really hard for them to go. So there's just some of the feedback. You have all this. I'm going to go through some of the events very quickly. We list events, and then we talk about partnership opportunities. It's primarily with park personnel and Friends of Ride Town Park. And then the marketing opportunities are really largely with our sort of local Ride Record and also all of the community news and school boards that go out. So do I have 2 minutes, Doug?
Well, yeah, let's start Fridays at 5. This Friday,
Okay.
we'll do the walkthrough at 3:30, with the budget
Okay.
at 3:30, the walkthrough at 4:30, then your Fridays at 5, perfect time.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I love these ideas.
Okay, so you have them.
No, I love the ideas. I love the idea of having Fridays at 5. I love the idea of taking back the park. Absolutely fantastic. Now the question is, how do we execute? How do we implement?
So I think, and I think the things that we have on the page, Fridays at 5, I think we can take a stab at executing those. The planning events, the scout events. I've already got 3 den leaders who want to do it. I think some of those easy ones we can execute just for
Beautiful.
a model event.
Right.
If we have help from the Rye Record, we can help promote it. Some of the bigger ones, I mean, you'll see this Harvest Festival.
Yep.
That's collaboration, and that's a lot.
I love the family movie night too.
Yeah, that was not my idea.
Love that.
I love that night. So I think if you're
Just to go to Cape Cod,
Yeah.
You do that. Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah.
So if the commission is okay with some of these early sort of endeavors, we'll try them and we'll execute them and we'll keep you in the loop. And some of the bigger ones, I think.
Well, what I'd like to do, if we could, is identify a coordinator with your group, and I guess Bill Lawyer is the obvious candidate. And then please, keep us involved as well. And, it's a great idea, absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you taking the time to do it. And I guess if you...
it would be the 3 of us.
Wonderful.
And
And Mayor French's suggestion, if you want, we can meet at 5 o'clock. Is that...
4:30, we'll do the walkthrough, go through Eleanor's suggestions from Carol from last year, and then we'll just
We'll talk about, we have a bigger sort of kickoff plan for May 13th, but we can...
Commission, invite only, I think.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Thank you so much. Great.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And Michael, thank you.
Okay, dog policy. Did somebody want to make a presentation on dog policy? Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ann Mueller. I live on Rye Beach Avenue, right
Ann.
across from the park. As you know, I do own a dog.
And also on the our Right Town Park.
I'm
Advisory.
on the, Mayor French's advisory committee for the park. So here's my advice. I picked up one of these little dog policy things on the way in, and it's a great start. I think it's a great start. I think a few things need to be clarified, such as first paragraph, second sentence. These rules are in effect from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I thought it was going to be 9 a.m. all day.
This is the policy that's in place now.
Right.
And what we're suggesting is revisiting it.
assuming.
Yeah, this is, yeah, so.
Okay, so can I just address that quickly?
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, I think it's a great start. I would like to see it say from 9 a.m., 7 days a week, from Memorial Day to October 1st, not just the summer months.
Yep.
I think you have to be more specific.
I think that
than
makes sense. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, big question is, will there be signs with this information?
Well, actually,
or-
do we have a dog person and the staff is, Bill, are you our dog person as well, or who's our coordinator? Or Fred, or who?
I don't know that there is a coordinator. I'm just sort of asking.
You should have a coordinator.
about it.
We have a handout policy that we give to all the people that...
Well, I'd like to have somebody on the staff that coordinates with whoever's, because we have a part of the committee, your committee has a,
We have a brand-new security officer that is starting up this year.
okay, why don't we designate him?
We think that probably is the best spot.
Wonderful. So Fred, Fred and Bishop and Bill and Terry, could you guys designate somebody to coordinate and really take responsibility for implementing the dog?
I think the L part works great. I think
Okay.
it's a great idea.
Okay.
And we've used that before,
Good.
and it's worked very well.
Beautiful.
Can you just clarify that one sentence, you said these rules are in effect until 9 a.m., not...
No, these are in effect from 9 a.m., 7 days a week, May 1st, to Memorial Day to...
After 9 a.m.
After 9 a.m.
Right,
Yeah.
but no stop at 5
No
p.m.,
stop.
take that
No,
out.
because it's still light at 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
No.
at least in the summer.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, I guess this will be handed out or polished up and then handed out with a few corrections on it?
That's the idea. Yep.
Okay, and then will there be someone enforcing this?
Well, yes,
That's
and
the key thing.
yeah, absolutely. And this new security person is going to be given. I mean, I think Fred, the idea, that's a good suggestion. I want we've always had a problem with the dogs, and I don't want to have a problem this summer.
Absolutely.
And so we want to, we're going to hear from the public shortly. I think at the end of the day, people need to make clear, and we've I think strengthened the links with the Rice City Police Department, and so there's no reason to put anybody at risk
So
at the
it would
park.
be a question of calling the Rye Police to have someone?
No, we're going to have somebody on
Okay.
in situ that will be. I think Fred, we need to, in the security team, we need somebody with.
Last year, myself and the security head met with the dog committee, and this year we'll do the same thing.
But I want somebody responsible. I want one security guard. We'll talk about it, but I want one security guard responsible for policing the dogs, and I want it to in execution and implementation.
Yeah, the new security guy is going to set up sections that his men are going to constantly make the rounds on, and he'll be responsible with his guys to do that.
Perfect. Great. Thanks, Fred.
Okay, so
And another point is, he's also going to be supervising the parking attendants, so they will have a full-time supervisor
Wonderful.
on their backs.
Perfect. Thank you.
So how it works from a security standpoint is that the Rye Town Park Security Force will enforce the law, this policy. But if violations have to be written, they will then call the Rye Police to come and write a violation.
Okay, so does that mean that, like, you would take names or something? I mean,
All
you
we-
can tell someone to put their dog on a leash, they put the dog on the leash, they walk off, they're back the next day. I mean, if someone's not making note
She's
of the
absolutely
dog.
right. We can't give out a summons, but we can call the Rye Police. The Rye Police can come and they can summons them. And that's the crux of the problem. 1 or 2 summonses would put the people that don't put their dogs on a leash on notice that we're getting serious about dogs off the leash.
I think, quite frankly, Mayor French, I want to get serious. I think we need to get serious about implementing the policy. And
Well, we did have somebody that was bit on the 22nd of April, so I think if you want to have the head of security meet with the police commissioner and just tighten up coordination so that when you guys call, they'll come in and issue a violation.
Okay, now we're going to need backing from your office also on that, because we've met with the commissioner there a couple of times. They generally come and they give warnings, but the point is, and my point is, 1 or 2 summonses
Yeah, I agree.
send a
It's
big
just-
signal out.
I'd be glad to join that meeting with you and the city manager and the police commissioner.
perfect.
And I do think that I have gone out there and with the dog walkers early in the morning, and they're amenable to a policy like this, 9 a.m.,
yeah.
prior to 9 a.m.,
Yeah.
Absolutely are.
During the summer months.
It's just
The dog walkers, I think, are the biggest beneficiaries. I know some people here, and the dog walkers are the biggest beneficiary because it's always the bad actors that makes it difficult for everybody else. But the dog walkers generally are very, very helpful, has been my experience. But
Most of the people that come there put their dog on a leash after 9 a.m.
Right.
I think that's
Right.
key. So am I to assume that this will just be tidied up?
That'll be modified, yes.
Tidied up
Yep.
and handed out to people
Yes.
as they come in the park?
Yes.
And maybe some signs, or no?
Yeah, I think we're going to get, there is a signage issue at the park. We've got a lot of signs, but I would expect there'll be some, right. We have to find, I think, a nicer way to get our signs and message across. But yes, some signs should be fine.
All right.
Thank you, Ann. Thanks so much.
I do think enforcement is the key, because we just heard from the people that spoke right before you. One of their takeaways was people said they want more dogs on leashes. So I think that's as good evidence as any that it is a problem, and sometimes it's the bad apples spoil the bunch, but nonetheless it is an issue beyond perhaps just even a perception of an issue. So I think enforcement is key, and I don't think it's really that efficient or cost-effective for the park staff to have to call in the police department, because by the time that happens, first of all, people are going to be gone. And second of all, it's taking police officers off the street to do something that might be better suited for someone else. So I think my point of view would be, because enforcement is so important, why can't we give if we're going to have a dedicated security guard doing this anyway, why can't he get the ability and authority to write summonses for not having a dog on a leash?
If we can do that, I think I know Fred would be very happy to be able to do that. I don't know, Mayor French, or...
I've been pushing that for
Yeah,
probably 3
for
years.
Town Attorney Noto, I don't know if we could do it legally, but if we could, we'd love to be able to have that.
Yeah, we talked about that last year with the police commissioner, just to deputize somebody to do that. It's a little more complicated than that, but we'll raise that in the meeting.
Ah, wonderful. That's a great suggestion, Commissioner Sack. Okay, I'm mindful we're closing up. I know, Mayor Franson, you have a meeting, but I do going to invite for comments from the public. Any comments from the public?
Mayor French, maybe you could set up a meeting again with the dog committee, because mostly it's out-of-towners that violate the rules.
Yeah, I don't know how active they are these days, but I'll get a few representatives.
They were very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, please, Mr. Yap, you said.
Yeah, I apologize, but I have unless you're quick.
Quick? Okay. Hi, Beatty. All this talk about the dogs, I got fired for that last year, as you recall. Because this lady, I got to call her a lady, she disrespected me. And I got fired, and I tried to plead with him, Mr. Joffrey. 5 times I went to see him, never got my job back. Now I'm on unemployment, which I never did in my working life. But I also put in an application to go back to work this year, and Mr. Nowotnik didn't say fat chance, but he says good luck, sarcastically. So I'm pleading for my job back again. I don't like collecting checks from the government. But I'm just trying to say that when you do your job down the beach, forget it. They hang you. And that's what happened to me. So thank you for wasting your time on this.
Thank you, Mr. Vega. Thank you for your comments. Any other comments from the public? Can I get a motion to bring, any comments from the commissioners? Can I get a motion to bring the meeting to a close?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.